Today's our topic is 12th 5-year plan. The plan is start to 1st April 2012 and covers the 5-year period 2012 to 2017. The 12th plan's goal of the faster and more inclusive growth. The 12th plan has identified some targets. Number 1, to increase national income at an annual average rate of 8.0%. Second one is to release the above goal. The target for agriculture growth has been fixed at 4.0% and industry 7.6% and for service sector 9.0%. The plan projects that the GDP growth rate of 8.0% can be achieved with an investment rate of 3.0% and therefore a saving rate of 33.6% would be necessary during the 12th plan. The plan is fixed at rupees 8050,123 crore at current price. The center shares in it is rupees 4,333,739 crore, while the share of the state and UTs is rupees 371,8385 crores. The resources for the central plan include the gross budgetary support (GBS), gross budgetary supports. That's their full form. The short form is GBS, and their full form is gross budgetary support. Components of rupees 3568,626 crore. And internal and external budgetary resources. The short form is IEBR. The full form is internal and external budgetary resources. Components of rupees 1622,899 crore. States own resources are placed at rupees 2858,599 crore and central assistance to states and UTs is rupees 857786 crore. The pattern of financing or a outlay during the 12th plan. They are given by the one table. There are 4 columns. First one is resources. Second column is center. Third one is state, and last one is total. First point is balance from current revenue. In a central level 1387371 and the state level 959979 and the total is 2347350 crore. Borrowing in our India in 12th plan. 21 in a central level 2181,255 in a state level 1581,301 and total is 3699,556 crore. Net inflow in abroad. There is nothing on central or state both. Reserves of public enterprises. In a central level 1622 in a state level 380319. The total is 2003218 crore. State owned resources, there is the addition of first point, second point and 4 point. Central is nil. State is 2858599 and total same 2858599. Central assistance to state and UTs, in a central it is nil, in a state 857786 and total is 857786. Resources of the public sector plan, in a central level 4333739, in a state level 3716385 and total 8050123 crores. It is all whole table. They are defined to the financial pattern in the 12th 5-year plan. Second thing is sectoral allocation of public sector outlay of the plan is as follow. There are 3 columns. They are defined with the table. There are 3 columns. First one is sector. Second one is projected outlay at current price, and third one is percentage distribution. First sector is agriculture and allied activities. Their current prices is 367233 and percentage is 4.7%. Rural development 457464 and the percentage is 6.0. Special area programs 80370 and 1.0. Irrigation and flood control 422012 5.5. Energy 1438466 18.8%. Industry and minerals 377302 and percentage is 4.9. Transport 1204172 15.7%. Communications, their current price is 80984 and percentage is 1.1%. Science, technology and environment 167350 and percentage is 2.2. General economic services 305612 and percentage is 4.0. Social services 2664843 and percentage is 34.7%. Last one is general services 107959 and percentage is 1.4%. In the table, the 12th 5-year plan accord top priority to the social services, which account for 34.7% of total public sector outlay. 11th plan, the share of social services in total public sector outlay was 30.24%. In the terms, the amount to be spent on social services has been raised from rupees 110232.7 crore in the 11th 5-year plan to rupees 2664843 crore. Next in importance is energy, which accounts for 18.8%, rupees 143,8466 crore for total public sector outlay, though its share in public sector outlay in the 11th plan was 23.43%, rupees 854123 crore. Next one is evaluation of the 12th 5-year plan. First point is, in the 12th 5-year plan has set the target of annual economic growth rate of 8%. Average economic growth rate during the first 4 years of the plan was estimated at about 6.7%. Of course, this is below the set target, but it is quite appreciative in the context of global slowdown. 6.7% average growth rate is based on the revised base year of 2011-12, adopted by the Central Statistical Office for the calculation of gross domestic product instead of the earlier base year of 2004-2005. Second point, there is a clear decline in the relative share of agriculture and allied activities, including irrigation and flood control, in the public sector outlay of the 12th 5-year plan. The share of agriculture sector as a 20% of the public sector outlay in the 10th plan, it declined to 18.5% in the 11th plan and further to about 17% in the 12th plan. This relatively low priority to agriculture need immediate correction. Next one is, the 12th plan has set the target of agriculture growth rate at 4.0% and industry growth rate of 7.6% per annum. The average annual growth rate of agriculture during the first 3 years 2.0% and industry growth rate 4.0% per annum. Next one is, relatively decline in the share of science, technology and environment in the public sector outlay also needs to be looked into. Next one is, financial pattern of the 12th plan to appear to be unrealistic. Current revenue had proved to be negative in the 11th plan to the extent of minus 0.17% of GDP. Because of this shortfall in current revenue, that the 11th plan had to rely heavily on borrowing for financing and the plan expenditure, which in turn added to the interest liabilities of the government. Same error has been repeated in the 12th plan. Next one is, it appears that the government is intending to withdraw from infrastructure sector by laying our emphasis on public-private partnership. The short form is PPP and the full form is Public-Private Partnership Model. This model has been operating mainly in the transport sector and that too in roads and highways construction and modernization of airport. PPP model, it means 3P model, which is none too happy. Because of the reason we cannot improving our whole sector equally. Next one is an improvement in current account deficit in the balance of payment, which declined from 4.2% in 2011 and 2012 to 9.3% in 2014 and 2015. But the debt service ratio, on the other hand, increased from 6.0% at the end of March 2012 to 7.5% at the end of March 2015. It is very low ratio. There is no visible improvement in the reduction of poverty ratio and unemployment ratio also. It means they all are defined to that thing. Okay, we cannot get into the success of all sector in 12th 5-year plan, and our plan cannot be improve our employment and they cannot be reduce our poverty. It is very bad thing. It is very bad thing of Indian nation. Today's our topic is factors affecting international trade. The basis of international trade is differences in prices of goods and services as between different countries. The comparative cost advantage theory describes the differences in relative prices between countries of differences in relative cost of production. According to Ricardo, differences in relative cost of production arise because of differences in labor productivity in the production of two goods in two countries. This is one of the various explanations about the international trade. It is necessary here to take note of other explanations as they bring into light various factors affecting world trade. Factors affecting international trade is the first factor is differences in factor. Different countries are differently endowed with the supply of factor proportion. In some countries, capital is scarce and labor is abundant. In some other countries, labor is scarce and capital is abundant. It means countries rich in a labor can produce labor intensive goods at a low cost, and other countries rich in a capital can produce capital intensive goods at a low cost. Countries like India produce and export labor intensive goods, while other countries like USA produce and export capital intensive goods. Because of the reason in India we having to maximum labor, and USA they are having to maximum capital. Second point is differences in technology. Technological changes bring about a change in factor productivity and thereby in cost of production. At present, most of the developing countries are importing capital goods like machinery and factors. It means equipments. But if they succeed in reducing cost of production in their own capital goods industries by introducing more efficient technology, they may begin to export capital goods. Third point is differences in demand. Even if costs of production are similar in two countries, trade will emerge if, due to differences in demand conditions, prices in the two countries are different. In fact, demand conditions can reverse the direction of trade from the one expected on the basis of comparative cost advantage. This will happen because consumers may have a strong liking for a particular commodity. I give you one example. In Southeast Asia, like China, Japan, and etc., may import rice to meet the high demand for rice by their people, despite the fact that these countries produce rice at a low cost. Second point is product depreciation. A good part of world trade take place because of the fact that goods are not identical. I give you one example. Italian Fiat are exported to England and British Fords are exported to Italy. Last point is transportation cost or a transport cost. Transport cost also influence the direction and volume of international trade. A country may have comparative cost advantage, but this advantage may be zero transport cost, in which case the commodity will not be traded. There are also example showing that one part of a country import a commodity while the other part of the country produces and exports the same. They are defined to factors they are affecting to international trade. It means they all factor they are changed to international trade, or it means they are affecting to little effect, they are giving to the little effect for the international trade.